Well, continuing then. We don't like bombing the enemy. We're concerned that we're bombing innocent people in a sense that they're not a party to decision making that we're fighting against. We don't find ourselves to automatically be non-violent. Ideally, our violence is a sort of defense, not used as a dominant imposition and exploitation on others. We do distinguish between defense and attack. War. In fact, we're uneasy when we call it the Ministry of War instead of the Ministry of Defence. We have a very bad expectation that wars can get out of hand. You can get into wars very simply and easily. Getting out of them seems to be problematic and endless. You can see the logic of, in wartime, getting your population to hate the enemy, but it hardly gives opportunity for a peaceful settlement. In fact, settlements, if they ever come, is either by one completely destroying the other or mutual exhaustion on both sides. We just know it's not good. And most of us seem to know this. But we seem to be powerless against our situation to change it. And even the leaders seem to be powerless. Of course, it's argued that wars are made by old men for young men to die in. Well, it used to be that, but now it's whole populations that are at risk. You could say from past experience of what record we have of the past, going back as far as we can see, things have not been that much different as regards the mix of what we might call good and bad in the world. And it's not likely to change in the near future. We don't see an obvious way of majorly improving such. Do we resign ourselves to that, or do we seek a meaning that transcends such? If this world is meant to be transitory, as indeed it seems to be, everything passes, then we can think of it as ideally not an end in itself, but it has meaning. In particular, the meaning I'm thinking of is that in some sense it's a learning situation for us that are in it. But of course, only a learning situation that's of long-run significance to us if we are long-run, and we don't seem to be long-run. The superficial physical appearance is that once the body dies, well, that's the end of you. And before the body came, you didn't exist either. A more hopeful trust that you might want to have, faith that you put your trust in, would be quite the reverse, that at the very least we're going to something eternal and wonderful, heaven if you like, and perhaps we've even come from heaven, that the ideal is in some sense we're children of God, and God is wonderful and kind. He's not just all-powerful and creative of all. And trusting in that gives us meaning to life. Does it mean we will for certain go to heaven, or some of us? Not at all. It's not for certain that heaven even exists. We are not certain here. It's the nature of being in this universe that we're not certain of anything. And we certainly can't hold on to anything, not even ourselves. So we are supposing some other notion of self, which is not the physical body and the brain as we can conceive of it, but in some sense that we are spirit or mind. The spirit, I think we would have said in the old history of things, but increasingly we've shifted to thinking in terms of the modern mind, and that the spirit was perhaps something else. And our language preserves that too. Love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, soul, mind, and strength in some sense. There's other aspects to the person than simply the mind. Even when we say heart in that context, I think we mean the emotions and something fundamental, and soul is certainly, it's not taken to be something concrete, but something spiritual. Strength, on the other hand, although obviously in some units terms can be measured in the world, strength somehow seems to be very much of a physical thing, doesn't it? So we're saying that life here might be embodied, but perhaps what life is, it's not a material thing at all, but more like mind or spirit or whatever. Let me pause. Thank you, Heavenly Dad.